Hey,
There you are again. How are you?
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so a little overwhelmed, but I'm good. I'm so excited
Yeah,
that I'm so excited it's in the world today. It's cool.
it is. Okay, let's talk about it. Netflix. Ben Platt
Yes,
live at Radio City.
yes.
Dude, it's so beautiful. It's so
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
I already told your publicist. I watched it the other night with my husband. Wow, I'm going to get emotional. I have to tell you, I sat on the couch and I cried. I literally sat there, cried. Um, to see a man like yourself, this out queer young man living his truth on the stage of Radio City, it blew me away. It
Thank you,
just blew me
Mark.
away. And I kept thinking of all the men who came before you who couldn't be their true selves on that stage, dancing and singing. And
Hmm.
there you are, taking charge, these young people in the audience, and I can't assume if someone's gay or not who I see in the audience, but I'm seeing these young men cry. It had to blow your mind doing it and then watching it.
Definitely. I'm so grateful that there's like this like beautiful high qual home video for me to have forever because it was such a special night. I mean, it was sort of like my bar mitzvah in a way because it was like my whole family and everybody from all different walks of life, like my friends from growing up in high school and politician and Evan Hansen and everybody kind of converging to be there. And so it felt like such a warm room, even though it was like this, sacred space of Radio City. So it was just, I don't know, it was so special and just felt like kind of a culmination of like a leg of the journey. And I can't wait tonight. I get to watch it with my family, so that'll be nice.
So tell
Um,
me about walking on stage, the announcer, whomever says, ladies and gentlemen, it's friggin' Ben Platt. And you
well,
walk on that stage.
the thing that's not in the special that I'll share with you that was really special was that Beanie Feldstein, my best friend, came out before we started shooting onto the stage and said, sort of, just kind of gave an intro and said, like, just in case no one couldn't tell by the cameras everywhere, we're shooting this for Netflix, and stay out of the aisles and give us your love and enthusiasm. And so Beanie really like warmed up the crowd and got them set. And so that was so exciting listening to her from backstage. And then obviously just the curtain coming up and the show starting, it felt very surreal. And the whole first song I felt very kind of scared and tense and tight. And then as soon as we got through the first number, it was just kind of like a free fall. It was great.
Not bad. Beanie Feldstein as your opening act.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll take it.
um, your family's in the audience. You're talking right. I mean, your stories are great. We're
Thanks.
seeing a Ben Platt we haven't seen really before because, as you say in the special, it's your first time you're on stage as yourself.
Yeah.
Um, you tell the story about coming out to your parents. Of course, you're on a trip to Israel. Right there is a mitzvah. Um, your mom knows right away why you're calling, and
Of
your
course.
dad says to you, "Are you being safe?" And you're like, "Dad, did he really say that to you? You're 12 years old."
In so many words, yes. That was the illusion that I now understand as an adult. But at the time, I was sort of like, "What do you mean?" Of course, I'm just on this trip. Like, I don't I don't know what you mean.
and
Um,
in during your show, you're very open. You are like talking about relationships, failed relationships, writing about these relationships. Was given a little Taylor Swift moments there, talking about
exactly.
these romances. But I mean, great songs are about bad romances, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I wanted it to feel like, if the album was like sort of a confessional in a way, I wanted you to get to gain something from seeing the show live that you didn't gain from the album. And that was putting all of the songs in as personal and as specific a context as possible so that people really know exactly where they were coming from. Because I think, apart from just falling in love with the song musically, the way to really connect with one is to know kind of exactly where it was born. And so I figured if I'm really going to do this, I'm not going to be able to hold anything back. And there's no reason to go in and edit my experience or my story. And so if I'm going to give, myself, then I'm going to give myself. And that's what I did happily.
So now that people can watch it, have
Yes.
you heard from those exes who you reference in the songs?
One is still a very close friend of mine, and so he knows all about it, and it's all good and beautiful, and he's very proud. One I haven't spoken to in 7 or 8 years, so who knows? But Maybe, who knows? Maybe he's watching it somewhere and it's bringing him some kind of closure. It's hard,
Mm.
you know. Can't say I care very much if I'm honest.
Did you feel vulnerable out there sharing stories like that?
At the beginning of the tour, I did when I first started doing shows, because this was kind of my first experience doing that, this leg of the tour. And luckily, before we got to Radio City, I had done like 12 or 13 shows. And so by the time we got to Radio City, it felt like a little easier, a little more natural. But at first, yeah, going to like, Dallas and like Toronto and these places that I don't necessarily have a great home or like know a lot of people and sharing these personal things, it was very frightening at first. And then to come back and do it in New York kind of felt like, oh, this I can do.
Is there a particular song was your favorite to sing during the show? Can you pick a
Oh,
favorite?
two, I think. In terms of my own songs, I really love singing Ease My Mind. It
Mhm.
comes in a point in the show where we've just done Share Your Address. It's this big, like, kind of blowout number. And then I leave the stage to, if we're being honest, go pee. And my backup singers do an incredible sort of play off of the song where they each get to kind of shine and show what they can do. And then I come back on and we like kind of bring it back down again with Ease My Mind. And I always felt it was this beautiful kind of like recollect myself kind of moment because the show's kind of like go, go, go until then. And I just always will remember that feeling of singing that song. And then the other is Take Me to the Pilot. I love Elton John, obviously, and he's like hero of mine. And I think that it's just such a like a show-stopping song. And it was so fun to do some choreo and to really get to like let my voice go. And that one was always a highlight, I think, for the audience too. So that was so fun for me.
Let's talk about that choreo, that dancing. There's some dancing you are just, I'm like, he is feeling it so hard right now.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah, I mean, I was afraid at first because I was like, should I bring on someone to like do choreography or like, do I even want to dance? Is that something I do? And then I kind of, if I'm honest, I went and saw Maggie Rogers at Hammerstein Ballroom a few months before I was going to go on tour, and she's one of my favorite artists. And the way she moves on stage, the way she dances, it really feels like you're out with her dancing. Like you're really getting to see her, how she would like to dance just as a person and to enjoy music. And so that kind of took the pressure off me. And I thought, well, I just get to dance like how I like to dance and how it's fun for me to like enjoy this music and feel the music. I don't need to like sort of portray myself in any particular way. And once I kind of made that switch in my mind, the dancing just became really, really fun. And then that one kind of in sync moment in Take Me to the Pilot was just a super organic thing we found. Like in rehearsal, we kept matching up and doing it. We were like, we might as well make a moment out of this. We look good doing it. So let's go.
What does it feel like to watch yourself dancing? I know I can't watch myself dance.
It's not so bad because I'm used I'm used to watching myself play characters, and that is always more uncomfortable to me because I always am thinking like, oh, like why did they choose that take, or I wish they'd edited this differently, or like why did you make that choice, Ben? Like, I really nitpick when I'm playing someone else. So compared to that, I mean, no matter what, watching myself is not my favorite activity, but compared to that, it's okay to watch me be myself because then it's at least it's something I recognize, and it's not something I can really go in and edit because it's like, well, I'm just
That's
doing
you.
me, yeah.
Like you said, you cover Elton John, you cover Brandy Carlisle, who
Hmm.
has the, if I don't know what heaven sounds like, but her voice
I
is
mean, come
heaven
on.
to me.
And she posted my cover from my album of the song, and it just means like so the world to me to have her blessing because that song is so special. And so I was just really honored by that.
How do you even start to begin to figure out what songs to cover? I mean, it's just obviously, it's countless songs. How do you
Of
even
course.
dwindle them down?
So I have like, a handful that I love to sing. Some were in my like book growing up, like my audition book. Some I've just accrued over time. And I narrowed it down to like 5 or 6 before we even kind of started the process of rehearsal. And then we tried pretty much all of those with the band and singers to see kind of what they felt like and what's the energy that's missing from the show and does the song fill that gap the right way. And then it kind of narrowed itself down pretty easily to the ones that A, sounded great with everyone, and that B, really matched the energy pockets we were missing, and those were the Brandy and the Elton song. And on my tour as well, I sing a Stevie Wonder song that didn't make the hour-and-a-half cut of the Netflix special, but maybe I'll put that clip on there sometime. But yeah, those two just kind of really kept sticking out among the rest as just really special songs that kind of matched the vibe of my music, but felt like enough of an energy change that it was worth it to add different artists.
How
And they're
did
both
how
queer artists, which is great.
how did the Netflix special come about? Did you know going into this tour this was going to happen, or did it happen during the tour?
I can't remember if it was before any of the shows happened. I know that pretty early on in the process, before I started performing, we knew there was going to be one. Um, It just kind of came from, as soon as we sold the Beacon in New York, it went so well and it just got filled so quickly. And I knew I wanted to do another show in New York because I just wanted to get more New Yorkers in there because that's, I love that city the most. Um, and so Radio City seemed like the natural next kind of step. And it seemed like a special enough venue that it would be really special to film it. And so we went to Netflix, me and my team and everybody, and we kind of put this whole package together and said, this is the show we're doing. This is what it would look like. These are the songs. We really feel like it could be a unique experience to shoot it. And Netflix was all over it, and they wanted to do it, and now it's up there.
It's up there. It's there. You talk a lot in the show about anxiety, suffering from anxiety, and being that anxious person. Could you tell me more a bit about that and why you wanted to share that with the audience?
Of course. Yeah, I think I've been really very, very lucky and very privileged in many ways in my life in terms of always having food to eat and having a loving family that accepted me. And so sort of in terms of adversity in my life, I'm on the far end of the spectrum in terms of very, very fortunate. I would say the one thing that's been a challenge for me is just sort of a general anxiety that I've had, particularly since I was like sort of 18, 19 and come into my own a little bit more as an adult. Which is, just sort of an inherited kind of Jewish family thing. And it's exacerbated by certain things, by, just fear. Obviously, this time is very anxiety provoking. I'm a bad flyer, and, all sorts of things like that. And music has always been for me like a really, really good antidote to that, like probably the most effective one. And so it was really important for me, if I'm going to make music, to try to be that for other people. And even for myself, I find that songs like Ease My Mind and, Hurt Me Once, even though it's a sad song, like they are kind of soothing to me as songs when I go sing them at the piano. So to express that's what the songs do for me, I would hope it would help other people have the same experience, particularly watching it in their homes in a private way, getting to have that comfort. It's unfortunately become a really kind of opportune time for that, because obviously everybody is stuck at home, and not only do they want to feel that live experience, hopefully, and remember what it's like to be in a concert, but also have a bit of comfort and a bit of assuaging. So unfortunately, it's very well timed.
So how do you get through your most anxious moments? Is it just you turn to music, or do you have other ways of coping?
Music, singing, run or exercise, play the piano. I've spent time with my parents, with my siblings, with Noah, just surround myself with people who make me feel happy and calm, and watch something funny, watch a musical. There's a lot of different things to nip it in the bud. On the plane, there's not much you can do. I try to watch like Disney movies or something, but in life, there's usually enough places to clear your head.
And you did just mention Noah. Very sweet, wonderful, very happy for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's talk about your family for a second, because on Sunday, my husband and I are at the farmer's market online, 6 feet social distance in West Hollywood, and I'm playing the graduation performance.
Oh, yeah.
The Platt brothers. And a woman turns to us and goes, "Are those the Platt brothers?" And I said, "Yes, they are." She goes, "Can I take my mask off for a second and just talk to you about it?" So we played the Platt brothers online.
That's so
at
sweet.
the farmer's market. She recognized your guys' performance.
I'm so happy it's bringing people together.
So let's talk about the Von Platts.
Of course.
Will we ever see a Von Platt tour, a Von Platt album?
I don't know about any of those things, but I'm sure we will keep finding special occasions to get together and sing. We grew up singing together, at people's bar mitzvahs and at weddings and in shul and around the house. And, we all love music and singing, and particularly my brothers and I. And so I think, whenever something special like graduation, or we sang for Israeli Independence Day, or when things like that arise, we love to get together and blend the voices. And
then the other thing you said, I saw that you, in another interview, you talked about how you wanted your special to sort of feel a little bit like Liza with a Z.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking to a Liza man. Liza with a Z, if people do not know.
We've just lost half the audience.
1970s TV special, basically like what Ben has done, but it was Liza Minnelli. And at the beginning, you see her backstage, and we see you on your special doing your vocal warm-up, which was fascinating to me.
With Liz Kaplan, yes.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about wanting sort of people to get that back, sort of the behind the scenes.
Yeah, the thing about the Liza thing that I love is that you get sort of a peek backstage before it starts, and then once you're at the show, you're just at the show. There's no like talking heads, there's no extra behind the scenes. It's just the experience of being in the audience. And I loved that it was so imperfect. Like you see her wiping her sweat with a towel, you see her, taking a breath. You see, it's not like too cleaned up. And so Alex Timbers, who directed it beautifully, he and I really wanted it to feel that live and imperfect. And that was a little hard for me as like a very sort of anal perfectionist kind of type A person. I wanted to go in and clean up every little note and every little shot, and like, can we fade out the sweat? But I think it's worth it. I think it really wants to feel, like a live experience, like a one-time thing that happened once and will never happen again. And that's the part of Liza with a Z by obviously the great Bob Fosse that I was very inspired by.
But you're also inspired by her mom, because you also say in the special that you dressed as Dorothy from Wizard of Oz a lot when you were a child.
That I did. I had a blue jumper that was close enough for me to the dress, and I had ruby slippers. That family has really proven very important to me in my life.
Yeah, I think it might be a gay thing.
Probably. I would guess. It's this common theme.
Who's one artist who you would love to perform with? You'd love to just get on stage with?
Ariana. I would really love to sing with Ariana. She's a friend, and she's just so talented, and her voice is so pure and beautiful and can do so many things. And I would love to get the chance to sing with her for something.
Have you talked about it yet?
I put it in the ether. I think when the right time comes around, we'll know. Her and also Cynthia Erivo. She and I have kind of always skated. We've always skated around singing together. We always sing at the same events or on the same circuits, and we've never found the perfect thing to join forces on. So I think when we do, it'll be special.
By the way, if you're hearing that, those are my dogs barking because there's probably someone outside, so they'll stop in a minute. Cynthia Erivo. I mean,
come on, one of the greatest instruments we have.
The Color Purple musical. She got a standing ovation in the middle of a song.
I went 5 times.
I mean, just blows my mind. Yeah,
I went 5 different days of the week because I wanted to make sure she was doing that same performance on all different days of the week, and she was.
I think maybe Ben, Ariana, and Cynthia.
Works for me. We'll do a bang bang.
Now let's talk about The Politician.
Yes.
Season 2.
Season 2 next month.
Okay, what's the big difference between season 1 and season 2?
2 big differences. One is Judith Light and Bette Midler. I mean, need I say more?
Right.
Judith, we know, we've seen her do incredible television work over the past few years, but Bette is sort of, it's been a while since she's given us like an all-in on-screen comedy performance, and I think people are just going to go crazy. She's so fantastic and it's so funny, so dropped in, and watching her is my favorite part of watching the show. I'm sorry, there's a plane. And the other thing is that it's all a bit more grown up, I think. Peyton has become a bit more of an adult, as of all the young people, Laura Dreyfus and Ronnie Jones and Julia Schlepfer and Lucy Boynton and Zoe Deutsch, and they're all coming into their own as adults. And so I think that allows for a bit of a sharper, focused humor and a little more of a raunchiness that's fun, and it's all a little bit more streamlined. I think we had so much to set up in the first season, so much world to create and kind of backstory to tell, and now we get to really focus on the specifics of this election. And it's in New York, which we love.
So Ryan has talked about this. I think I've even talked to you about it, how he really has a plan for Peyton to really go all the way. So have you signed contracts for like the next 2 decades?
There's actually only going to be one more. So he has said this publicly, so I think I'm okay to say it too. There's going to be a third, so it's sort of a triptych. So we have the high school election, we have this state senate election, and then we have question mark. We'll find out last season. But I think that one's going to be in another year or 2 because he wants us to grow up a little bit, grow into it a bit. But yes, we have always known where it was headed, which is, true to Ryan Murphy. He has a very clear vision always.
So how Peyton, the elected official, how would he handle coronavirus and the pandemic in New York?
That's an amazing question. Oh my. I mean, they're doing a pretty beautiful job considering the challenges. So I don't think he would veer too much from what's been happening so far. Cuomo's been doing a great job. I mean, I think he would give a lot of hopefully very inspiring speeches that would be like 80% sincere and 20% kind of, self-promoting. And really, I think he would capitalize on the moment to become a face of like, galvanizing comfort and all that, but also galvanizing comfort at the same time. I think that's the thing with Peyton is maybe the reasons he's doing things is not always sort of the purest, and he's doing it for kind of a self-promoting kind of underlying back reason, but the things he does are usually for the greater good. So it's sort of this moral conundrum of like, does it really matter why he's doing it if what he's doing is ultimately a good thing? So I think he would be helpful.
And when are we going to see the Peyton fashion collection? I mean, that whole there has to be a politician collection coming out. I mean,
well,
everyone.
That's all Claire Parkinson and Lily Parkinson. They are amazing sisters who costume designed the whole show. Incredibly brilliant, really specific characters. And now even more so in the second season, because they're not in high school anymore, it's kind of an even freer palette, because it's not, even then, we were stretching the boundaries of what a high school student might wear, but now there's not even that backdrop. So it's just adults that are really well styled. And I love all my clothes I get to wear. It makes me feel super put together and super proud and upright and confident. And they really helped create the characters. So, I mean, that's a great idea. Let's talk to Target or, Bloomies.
And during quarantine, you actually wrote and released a song. Tell us about that.
Yes. So in the first couple of weeks of quarantine, was feeling kind of weighed down, kind of overwhelmed the way everybody is, I'm sure, and really was looking to try to write a song that would be kind of comforting and would be sort of these two people. One is kind of singing to the other, offering as many constants and comforts as he can to all of the sort of fearful questions that are being posed by the person he's singing to. And I wanted it to be a song that could apply obviously to what's going on, but that could live far beyond and be its own, sort of stand on its own. And because as we know, this will be very temporary, God willing. And so I wrote it over Zoom with Michael Pollack, was one of my most frequent collaborators, which was my first experience with writing over Zoom. And I was very nervous about it, obviously, because there's so much of the in-person dynamic that you miss when you're on Zoom. But because Michael and I have such a shorthand and have such a relationship that already exists, it really clicked and it worked well. And he kind of understood exactly the song I wanted to write. And it took us a couple hours and we found it. And then I thought, how am I going to get this produced in the middle of quarantine? So who can not only play every instrument under the sun by themselves, but also produce it beautifully from their own home and have the emotional intelligence to protect the story and keep it emotionally resonant, but make it big and accessible and commercial. And obviously top of my list dream choice was Phineas. And so I took a shot in the dark and sent it to Phineas, and he responded immediately, and he loved the song, and he said he could really hear what it should be. And by the end of that weekend, he had a great version produced.
It's a beautiful song. So what else are you doing in quarantine? What are you binging? What has Ben Platt binge?
Oh my gosh, lots of RuPaul's Drag Race with my brother Henry. We've watched pretty much every season under the sun.
Dear Evan Hansen. Dear Evan.
Wait, what? What do you?
Yes. With RuPaul.
Yes. When he says yes, it's so well-meaning, but he does say that the lead character's name is Dear.
So are people now? Is that your drag name, Dear?
No, I've actually been working on my drag name, and I haven't figured out exactly what it is. The one I'm workshopping right now, that I think was Noah's idea. I can't remember if it was Noah's or Henry's. One of them. It's a Sound of Music little ref, and it's Ray Fafa Latiti, which I kind of really like. But the jury is out. So yeah, RuPaul's Drag Race. We just started.
Wait, hold on. We're going back to that for a second.
Okay.
So what's her look? Is she a comedy queen? Is she a pageant queen?
I mean, she's like a musical comedy queen, if you will. A lot of Lederhosen, a lot of sort of German influence, Austrian influence, excuse me.
We're going back to cabaret.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of Drag Race. We've been watching Survivor. My whole family's been obsessed with Survivor for years. My little brother's bar mitzvah montage is literally Survivor themed. So I was always kind of a holdout because I don't know, I just never got on the train. And then I watched this most recent season with them, and I got immediately hooked. So now Noah and I are watching as many of them as we can. What else have I watched? I watched How to Build a Girl, of course, Beanie's movie, which is fantastic, and she's wonderful in it, and you can stream it now and download it. I have also watched Songland, always. My episode's coming up in June of great. Songland, which will be great. But we love Songland. It's a real joy maker, and it's just great to watch people write music. I think it's so cool that they've kind of pulled the curtain back on that process. And I'm about to start, hopefully soon, Normal People. I keep hearing it's fantastic.
It's pretty awesome. I've heard it's pretty addictive.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I got to get on it. All my friends are just over the moon for it, so I'm excited for that.
So next month is Pride Month. What does Pride mean to you?
I think it just means unabashed authenticity and just sort of being exactly who you are, no more who you are than you want to be, no less who you are than you want to be. And, broadcasting proudly when you want to and sitting back in your identity when you want to and not feeling any pressure to be anything other than who you are today. And I'm very lucky that I'm in a house quarantine with people who all feel the same way, many of whom are also gay. So it's nice.
Many? What is
Well,
this? The
you
gay
know,
kibbutz?
we've got me, we've got Noah, we've got Henry, we've got Henry's boyfriend. We've got a little brigade, if you will.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the first thing you're going to do when quarantine is over?
Oh, that's a great question. If things are opened up, I'm going to go see anything live. I mean, any live concert, hopefully Broadway show, God willing, knock on wood, someday soon. That's my biggest thing I'm missing the most is sitting in an audience and watching something. And then I would say the second thing would be to go dance somewhere. I've missed dancing with other people. Yeah.
Well, for now, we get to watch your special and we get to dance with you, Ben, because your dancing is so joyful. Like I said, this special is just, it's gorgeous. Anyone who's watching here, if by some chance you're not a Ben Platt fan already, watch this special. I started to watch a little bit of season 2, Politician. I can't say anything, so no spoilers. But everyone looks fabulous. The acting's incredible.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
Thank you. You too. Stay healthy.
Stay sane, and hopefully we'll see each other in person sooner than later.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for watching it.
Bye, Ben.
Mwah.
Take care. Mwah.